we're going to have this, Everything Ballroom YouTube channel. And the goal is to share the joy and benefit of ballroom dancing and to inspire more people to join us and
Great.
about this fascinating industry. So do give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And today, I'm very excited to have this amazing guest. And when I started to dance with her, and I'm just say, who this lady? Why I'm dancing, competing with a professional and the same dance floor, right? That was the lady I'm talking about. And then she has been a multiple US and world champions for American Smooth, International Latin, and Standard. And she is a therapist and who works in Toronto. And she recently also had opportunity to participate in a television show in what's called Revolutions as well. So we're gonna hear a lot of the story from this lady, and I can't wait and have our guests coming out today, Joanne J. Smith. Dun, 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 dun.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you for
Thanks for
joining.
having me. This is so fun. This is so cool. I'm honored.
Yes. Yes, I always want to have you, and a lot of people has been asking me to invite you. I'm so grateful
Of
that you give your time here. Um,
course.
Before we start, maybe you can share with the audience a little bit about yourself and maybe tell us some fun fact. I always like that not many people know about.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I'll start with the first question. The first question is a little bit about me. So I live in Toronto. I'm a therapist. I spend a lot of time in the office, a lot of time working, but I love it. And I've got two kids, Jamie, who's 20, and my son Levi, who is going to be 16 very soon. And my husband Kevin, and our dog Rocky, who you might hear in the background barking. And that's the nuclear part of my life. And then the bigger part of my life, obviously, as you know, is the dancing. I've been dancing since I was a kid. My dance career started with me in like a little pink leotard and the rolled up tights that my mom put me in when I was 3. And yeah, I've been dancing all my life. I did jazz and ballet and lyrical and contemporary styles. I would say the majority of my life until I was about 40. And just before 40, I started to do some ballroom dancing, which actually started as salsa dancing. I was like, oh, I really like this whole partnering. Yeah, and I loved it. And then somebody said, why don't you try doing this a little bit more? And I was like, ballroom, so boring. Come on, this isn't going to be fun. But competitive ballroom is the most exciting thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's such a drug. And I got addicted super fast. And here I am talking about it 12, 13 years later. Yeah.
Yeah, that totally, that is a very good addiction. So I'm here 16 years later. I'm saying, I'm not going to be quit this for the rest of my
I don't
life.
see myself quitting. I'm like, how long? I think my grandmother once said to me, how long are you going to do this dancing stuff for? And I'm like, I don't know. There's no time limit on it. You can do it when you're 20, all the way up into your late 80s and 90s. We see some women on the floor, some men too, in the competitions. And this is for anybody listening who is of all ages. It's remarkable what they're doing. They are sprightly and energetic, and their feet are moving, and they're just phenomenal inspirations to the rest of us. Just
I
incredible.
agree.
Yeah.
Right. Agree. Now you're something the fun fact.
Yeah. Oh, oh my God. Okay. Okay. Fun fact. When I was 16, I had a big crush on a guy who had taught me how to play football. And so for my 16th birthday, my friends gave me a pigskin football autographed by I think it was Joe Montana, who played for the 49ers. And I had quite an arm on me because I was trying to impress the guy, right? So I really worked at my football throwing skills. So that's something a lot of people don't know, that I love football. I do love football. Now I'm not going to be so good at it. Another fun fact, or a fact that people don't know about me. Okay, so this might sound really strange, but I don't like when things aren't together, like they don't have a friend. So like I will never have a single apple in the crisper. It has to have another apple or an orange. It can't be alone.
Oh,
If there's a salt shaker and a pepper shaker on the table, I want them together. I will put them back together, so everyone has to have a friend.
oh,
So
you're the kind of
I am
friendship
that person. Yeah.
allow
Like if
people.
yeah. I like the condiments. I want them to hang out together. I don't know how that started. It's a very weird thing about myself, but yeah, that's one of those things about me.
This is the great things anyway. So this is showing the love connection.
I
That's why
guess.
you have a great
Yeah,
connection with your
probably.
family. Yep,
Exactly.
yep, yep.
Like,
So now we go into the ballroom dancing world, right?
yeah, of
You
course.
mentioned that you started, 10 years ago, but how
Easily.
do
It's
you
got to
get
be
the
more now.
closer, about that, right? So, give us a little bit information about, how you get into the ballroom dance world and, what make you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, I got into it because a group of my friends at Metro Movement, which was the studio I danced jazz and ballet at, there was this ballroom studio that opened up very close to where that studio was. And for fun, we thought we would go try it out. And we did it, and it was very social dancing. And I think that's why I wasn't so excited about it, because we were used to really sweating when we danced and working really hard. And social dancing was fun, but I don't think it gave us the same adrenaline that we were used to as performers. And then somebody said to me, why don't you try competing? Like, why don't you try stepping this up and seeing if you like it? And that's that's when it really got interesting. All of a sudden, it was much harder. It was much more investment, time. You needed a partner. And so it just organically developed. I met somebody who I started doing some basic Latin with, and he said, you should really do American Smooth. He's like, you've got huge leg kicks and all these tricks you can do. You probably have a lot of fun with that style. I was like, what the hell is American Smooth? I didn't even know what it was. And
Oh,
so he showed me some videos of Olga Faraponova and David Hamilton that were like DVDs, like really like old videos of them. And we would just watch the videos and copy the choreography and learn. And that's really where it started. Yeah.
wow, that's such an amazing story that now you become the champions, right? A lot of people just look up on you, right? It's like it's not like a pro am like us. You're like a professional.
But
So
I don't see myself this way. I am just like everybody else. I'm on the floor working hard. You're all working hard. Everybody's got their background and puts their own spin on it, right?
right. Yeah, so but that would be great to share with people also and say, hey, is it hardworking? Is because of your talent? So tell us how often you practice, what kind of workouts, that you can make yourself, why you're so flexible. Give us some tips that can help us and inspire the rest of us, right?
I really wish I could say that I stretch on my bedroom floor every night, but I don't. I'm so the worst at that, actually. I really think that the flexibility is just my facility. It's just the way my body was designed, and it's just probably after years of doing dance was the way my body became trained. So that part of it is, if anything, I have to be quite careful not to get injured because I can be hyper flexible. And if I don't have the strength around my muscles, I can be in big trouble. But I mean, I do stretch, but I do love yoga, but I can't even say that I do that. My big passion actually is spin classes. I love spinning. I love it. Spin classes are like a dance class on a bike. You
Mm.
ride to the beat of the music, you pump, you jam, you do, all kinds of fun stuff. You speed up, you slow down. It's incredible for cardio. It makes you super, super strong. And it's actually the closest thing I have found to practicing for Latin finals to prep me for a Latin competition, because Latin, I mean, it's the end of you. 5 of those dances, your first cha-cha out of the gate feels like crap. No matter how ready you are. Garbage. Out it goes. So spinning definitely helps. And I think as we age, women, we have to protect our body's osteoporosis and so forth. So we have to do some weight training, and we have to do some, a balancing act, proper eating, healthy eating. Yeah. But I have my bag of chocolates, so
basically is that, oh, I'm born like that, so but everybody just keep it.
but I think, yeah, that's okay. So yeah, there's the facility for flexibility, but then the rest of it is the miles you do, right?
Right.
You got to do your miles. You can't expect to get results if you go into the studio once a week and that's all you do. If you really want to be serious about competition and you want to end up on a podium somewhere, whether it's first to third or even in the top 6, there's got to be a massive commitment to the number of lessons you take, to the number of hours you put in, to the practice you put in, to the videos you watch, to coming in and warming up, to reviewing your choreographies before you start, to thinking through what your teacher has shown you the day or week or whatever before, to consolidate. I mean, it's one thing to acquire it, but then there's got to be this constant level of consolidation. And that's up to you. That's your decision about how many miles you're going to put in.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's like always talking about skiing or whatever. It's about the mileage you put in to get anything
your
better.
miles.
So
100%.
yeah.
And the thing I was going to say about that is that the miles that you put in, that you're not a passenger as a ballroom partner. You're an active participant as a ballroom partner. And a lot of people have said to me, how do you do certain things? It's like, well, I'm active. I'm not a passive rider. I do a standing spin. I'm not passive. I'm doing something. I'm not just, going for the ride. And that goes with any dance, in any movement, in any step, you are active.
Yeah, when you say active, what do you mean? So you want to be knowing your routine, be able to stand on your own foot, those kind of things, right? Dance by yourself, warm up by yourself. That is a very key to a lot of poem dancers, even including myself. A lot of time I didn't really, be able to do express smooth Latin I can. So smooth is very harder to do on our own. So how do you train yourself to be active?
Okay, so by active for me, I think of a few things. I need to know my counts. I need to know where my weight in my body needs to be. And I need to know where the positions of maybe my arms or my body in the space needs to be so that I can make good connections to my partner so that they can lead me properly. And then I need to know when to commit my weight to which foot and when. So if I can figure that out, and that takes a long time to figure out, but once you figure that out more and more, that means you're an active participant, because otherwise you've got your partner pulling you and you're like, why is he pulling me? Well, that's because your weight isn't committed to maybe the right foot at the right time, right? So it might be a you problem, not a him problem, or a we problem, right? And that's where I say that's your active. You have to know your timing, your footwork. You have to know when you're supposed to, leave one position to go into another with the help of your partner.
Yeah, I totally in line with you on that. Now we're talking about partner, right? This is ballroom dancing. Partner is everything that we talk about. And I saw your stand-up partners like, whoa, you guys' height difference is so dramatic. Oh my God.
Dramatic. I know. He's over a foot. Yeah. Oh my God. And that's Anton Lebedev. Anton Lebedev has been my standard partner, my smooth partner for many, many, many years. And he's a really close friend of mine as well. And he has got to be about 6'3". And I'm 5'1". And so when people see the dramatic difference, it works a lot better in smooth because of the shape changes and level changes. We can sort of mask the height better. In standard, impossible to mask it. I looked like I was at his belly button because pretty much I am at his belly button. Yeah, it made for some awkward practices, but
how do you define, who to partner with for our poem dancers? So we're always talking about finding partners.
Yeah.
What's the tips, and help us on
I'll tell you, this is really such an interesting question. In Canada, in Toronto, we are not as maybe let's say we have fabulous pros. We just don't have the same volume of professionals here that say you would in Florida or California or New York or some of the other areas, Arizona even. So we are a bit disadvantaged in Canada just by the sheer number of professionals that exist. The community is much smaller. But having said that, the community is very strong. I think when Canadians come out to compete, everyone's like, oh damn, the Canadians are here. We've got some very, very strong, like my good friend Sabrina Strasser. She's been at the top of the Latin food chain as the Latin A champion and now the B champion for a long, long time. And she's beat out, a lot of American couples. which says a lot about the partnership. And certainly there's some great standard dancers too that have come out of Canada. So in terms of the pro choices, we're a bit limited by simply the volume. Now, having said that, my belief is this, and I've had a lot of time to think about this. Whoever you choose as a partner, it's you and him. Whatever you create, it's the two of you. It's what you and this person are going to create together. You take one of you out of the equation, it's already different. It's no longer ever the same. So whoever you're with, if you're with them, be with them and work with them. I think what I've realized is that I have to accommodate what my pros specialty is, what their level of creativity is, what they also enjoy doing. It's not about, oh, I'm the am, so I get to call the shots. It's a partnership. And at the level that everyone I think that's on this channel is paying attention to, that's the compromise. The compromise is, where are you? Where is this person? And where do you come together? And that's what makes the partnership unique and special. And then, of course, as a therapist, I'm going to say things like, and there's got to be good communication and understanding and compromise. And I'm the first to admit I've had many misunderstandings and challenges, language, cultural barriers, you name it. It's all part of the equation. But choosing a partner, I think part of it is your geographics, who you have access to. And then it's finding a good fit for your personality and somebody who really understands your body and understands your goals.
Yeah, I feel that's super important, right? So is what you talk about is like compromising communications, almost like,
Hard.
The husband and wife or whatever. So everything, everywhere you talk about. Now I get back to, because I think it's your personality that you want to compromise. You want to
Not always. Sometimes I want what I want. I'm the worst. I totally admit it. I can be very difficult. I have an idea, I'm very creative, and I want it.
But at least that's you knowing yourselves, right? You
Yeah.
understand that you be yourself, but also understanding how to compromise and then together, right? So I think that might be my question about, how to get your husband and family supporting your dancing is part of a success, I believe, right? So I danced for 16 years. If I don't have my husband or kids supporting us, it's just a very expensive hobby, time consuming and everything. So
yeah, that's a different space in that topic. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. How do you get them to support you? And then, for some of the lady and say, hey, my husband doesn't like me to dance with the guys and those kind of things, right? So what is your tips?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the first thing is, for me, it's a little bit different. I was dancing when my husband met me. I was dancing 5-6 nights a week. I was downtown. And then when we were married, I was salsa dancing. So I think he knew the dragon he was married to. So I think poor guy, he already understood the assignment. But I think for somebody coming into ballroom, one, if you're partnering with a professional, it's a professional relationship. No different than if you hire somebody else in your life to help you with something that is a personal goal for yourself. So, what I would say is have a conversation with your spouse so that they understand what the boundaries are of the relationship. And it's a clear transaction. It's understood, like, maybe you have to address what some of those insecurities are or what some of those anxieties are, if it's about the relationship. And then if it's about money, then it's about budget. Then it's about saying, okay, look, this is what it's going to cost to do this. This is what I'd like to do. Where is there a middle ground? How much can I participate in these events? What's going to be my time commitment, my away time from the family? My costs. And I don't mean just cost about your lessons. You all know, as we know, it's the competition costs, the dresses, the hair, the makeup, the entries. dot.
Yeah.
And you create a bottom line and you create a budget and you pick and choose then which events you want to go to and how many lessons you want to do. And you carry on.
Right.
But I think the communication with your spouse is very, very important. If my spouse really wanted to do something, I would hope he would sit down and say, look, this is a goal and a dream of mine, and I really want to actualize it. I really want to develop it and make it. How do we do this and still be okay and intact?
Right. So this is so good. That really is about communication. So it is
with the spouse for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
So
you have to be reasonable too. Like, I don't know about other people, but I don't stay away longer than I need to.
right.
You know, if I can catch that flight that takes me out, I'm usually out. If I can catch the earliest one the next day, I am. I'm not coming in a few days in advance and taking a holiday. You know, I'm usually working until literally the bitter end, until Uber shows up, and shutting my computer and shoving it in my purse and walking out the door and kissing everybody. And I'm back as soon as I can. So maybe that's the other part of it, is to, you know, sort of recognize your time and not to mismanage it and to misappropriate it, just to, you know, be reasonable with how long you're gone.
Yeah, compromise,
Yeah.
from this, that's understanding and both
Yeah,
side of the equation.
I think
So
so.
wonderful. So now we're talking about winning. Of course, you're winning, winning. Winning.
Oh
So
boy.
what are tips, what you're learning and, or suggestions for people, and, we have a goal, competition, we all want to win, right? No matter what,
For sure.
we want to win. So what is your tips, at least advice for people on that?
Oh, my first tip is you win some, you lose some. That's my first tip. Is there's going to be times when you're going to win, and there's going to be times when you're going to lose. And when you lose, it doesn't mean you're bad, and it doesn't mean you had a shitty performance, and it doesn't mean you have to start all over again. It just means that you didn't win that event, and it's okay. And I think that getting okay with that is a very important step, because I've lost many competitions. As many as I've won, I've lost just as many. And, you know, it stings for a bit, and then you're like, okay, it's fine. And you move on. And I think what matters more is that you have to be able to walk away from an event and say, I danced as well as I could. And it doesn't matter that I lost. I feel very happy with whatever I achieved on the floor. And in order to do that, for each event, I would suggest that you have measurable goals. So let's say you're going to Ohio. If your goal is to win, that's a massive goal. That's not a goal. That's like a concept. A goal might be, did I connect with my partner in these dances? Did I catch all my heel leads? Did I project? Did I stretch? Did I maximize my shapes when I was supposed to? Something that you can go back and go, yes, I know that I did that. And your pro can say, yes, you absolutely did that. So that you're not focused on the loss. You're focused on what you gained. You're focused on, yeah, I know I accomplished that. You know, in Latin, were my thighs together? Did I brush the feet? Was I strong on two legs? You know, did I stretch up my arm positions the way I had hoped to? Because then if you lost, you still know, wow, I did all those things and I still feel really good about that performance. And then you come away feeling more satisfied, rather than focusing on, oh, I lost, someone's better than me, or politics. Oh, you know, somebody else paid off a judge. I don't know. We hear all of it, right?
Right.
So just if you focus on the things that you can measure, there's a better chance you're going to walk away feeling more satisfied, rather than it being about the win. And then, of course, if you win, it's like, damn, yay, great, woohoo, drinks on me.
Exactly. I really love what you say about measurable goals. So, sometimes even I win, I don't feel I dance well. I don't really feel that well, to be honest, right? So I think it's just, focus on self-accomplishment is the key one. So we
Yeah.
can keep going on without, feeling the only the bad part once we lose.
Yeah. I mean, for anybody listening, if you've ever won an event but danced horribly, did you really feel that good about the win? Probably not. Like, psychologically, there's a part of your heart that was like, I know I was crap, you know, and maybe it was just I got lucky, or the judges just were looking at something else when I messed all that up. But that doesn't necessarily feel satisfying. So if you can remember that, in a way, it's kind of grounding, I think.
Right. So it's gonna reverse, right? Even I lost, if I do well, I should be feel accomplished and pat on our shoulder. I really talk to a lot of pro am ladies and say, don't focus on winning or lose. You get on that stage, you get on the competition floor, you already win. Pat on everyone.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I want to add to that, that one of the things that I always do when I get on the floor, every competition, every single comp I've ever gone to, for my first dance, I look around the room. I look at the chandeliers. I look at the setting. I look where I am. And I pray and thank God that that's how I'm spending my day. Recognizing that there's a lot of other ways right now in the world that people are spending their day, and it's not ballroom dancing in a fancy costume, dressed up like a queen with a handsome dude, having a great time with all these other beautiful people. It's a huge privilege. It's a very grounding thought to look around and see that. And then it becomes exactly what you said. I already accomplished something today that is mind-blowing.
Right. So, I talked to a lot of ladies. They said, oh, they want to quit because they don't win and all this politics. I really love what you saying. So appreciate and celebrate these little things that in life that we can do together. That is such a great things. So originally I'm trying to ask you about your TV show Revolution. So you're running out a
Oh
little
my
bit
God.
time. But
Yeah.
I do want you to share a little bit. Maybe we can cheer on you and see what you're doing on there.
On Revolution. So I did this show, it was 2 summers ago, not last summer, the previous summer. My partner, Anton Lebedev, and I were at a competition. We were scouted. They asked us to be part of this cast. We had no idea what the hell we were doing, literally. We'd never watched the show. They said, prepare a dance, show up. And it was lights, TV, action, literally. It was a fabulous setting. The stage is a circle, and it has 360 GoPros around the stage. And there's a moment that they capture called the revolution moment, where you're supposed to be like suspended in the air or doing something wow, and your skirt's flying or something really magical. And we're ballroom dancers and we're in high heels, hip hop dancers, they can land on their feet or in their running shoes, and the lyrical and contempt dancers are in their bare feet. And here we are in ballroom outfits in a circle. So it was very challenging, but we had an absolute blast. There's a whole bunch of seasons that you can watch about Revolution. It's a great show. It's very similar to World of Dance, but they added this revolution moment to it, which is really cool.
Send us the link. I will put it in.
I'll try. I think people in the US, they couldn't watch it for some reason. The link didn't work, but I'll try and video some of it. I'll try and send it out there. Yeah, it's fun.
That will be great. It will be fun, and then supporting our fellow dancers.
I never thought I would be as nervous as I was when I heard the buzz that cued us in for the television. But I'm going to tell you something. When I was in any competition, it feels the same. I'm just as nervous. It doesn't have to be TV. It can be a small performance in a studio or a big competition. But when dance is meaningful to you and it matters how much work you've put in, your nerves are there. It doesn't matter what the setting is.
Yeah, I also again and say it's privilege to be nervous because you are putting things out. You're putting effort out. So I think this is amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's the scoop.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, can't wait to see that.
Great questions. You're such a beautiful host.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up for the audience, whoever interested to ask question, please raise your hand, and my friend Ellie will go, or yourself, you can unmute you, and we're gonna spotlight you.
Sure.
Cool.
Any questions? Anybody?
I think so I can see
Marilyn's got one.
Marilyn and Lassen. Okay, can you unmute yourself and then we spotlight you? Who's first? Okay, Marilyn, you go. Okay, cool.
During COVID, Joanne and Sophia started this wonderful group. And it brought the community together, and we exercised. And that's how I learned of people. And when I go to competitions, I know them. So first of all, I want to thank you for developing that community. And I was wondering how it started.
Which the Zoom link, the Zoom that we did over the pandemic?
Yes, you and Sophia. How did this idea germinate?
Well, I would say the first part of it was out of absolute devastation that we were separated from each other and that we felt like the thing that we loved was just cut off from us, even though we recognized like the validity of, and the reality of what was going on in the world was much more important. But, we were sad. And we thought, and we were also like, how the hell are we going to get back to competing if we don't stay in shape? Like realistically, we're dancers, we're athletes. Let's be real here. This isn't like we wake up out of bed and put on a tiara. We got to stay in shape. So we thought, as I think Sophia said, I was thinking, I used to be a Pilates teacher, and I was like, and a dance teacher. I said, yeah, me too. I used to do these like dance classes at a fitness studio. And then we said, I thought I could do abs. And she's like, I could do this. I'm like, well, let's do it. Let's just throw a link together. She's like, there's something called Zoom. I'm like, what the hell is Zoom? Do you even know what it was or how to use it? And here we are. So that's how it began. And we just started advertising it on different Pro-Am pages and on our Facebooks, and whoever wanted to join. We were thrilled that people even joined. And it really did take off. It was incredible to see everybody every weekend. It got us through a very, very difficult time. We had dress up parties. I mean, we had events. We had wine and chit chats on Sunday nights. Sometimes it was amazing. Yeah.
It was a place where we felt safe.
To have that next
time. I think it was a place we felt safe, and we also got in shape, and there was a lot of love and support that came from that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I know Ina started her Latin class that way, and other pros did it as well. So we were very lucky that the community came together like that to keep us all going.
Great
question.
Thank you. Is it Diane?
Emily.
Oh, Emily. Okay, Emily.
I have two questions. I'll try to make it short. Joanne, when you're on the comp floor, how much are you in an unconscious mode and how much in a conscious mode? How much are you thinking versus how much are you just aware of you and the area around you and your partner? How much do you differentiate between the practice floor and the performance floor?
Oh my God, that is such an unbelievable question. I love that question. Holy, and it's such a hard one. I would say that by the time I go to compete, I'm not really thinking about my steps or my footwork. Whatever I've got on that day is what I've got. And so I'm not counting in my head anymore. And I that's already registered in the body. It's like locked and loaded, it's learned, and it's muscle memory. So I am focused much, much more in being in tune with my partner's movements and the floor craft and the music. Those three things I would say are top, because I can't anticipate the music. It could be faster, slower. I might like the song, hate the song. Doesn't matter. I got to feel it. And my partner, because of floor craft, I have to be extremely sensitive to where he might go. That's my job. My job is I need to keep aware. So I am not thinking about steps. I am not thinking about technique. I'm not going, oh my God, did I close my thighs? Did I, hit my highest point on count 2? Forget it. At that moment, it's whatever's there.
So you go into performance mode.
Absolutely. And awareness, because especially in Latin too, you got to be safe. You've got people around you. Your legs are flying, arms are flying. There is a responsibility to other competitors as well. And if you are attending to your partner and he's a good driver, that's a big part of your success. Feel him.
Question. How much do you find lead and follow or freestyle dancing in the practice room helpful?
In terms of working by myself, if I have to work on something alone, I find it very valuable. Sometimes I need to go off on my own and work my stuff out. I don't want my partner there. I don't want to hear. Then in terms of like, say, working with my partner on just like, hey, do you feel me? Do you not feel me? I can't say that I've ever really done those exercises with any of my partners. It's really been more experiential, like just through practice, through slowing things down or speeding things up and getting to know your partner. I think this is the benefit of having the same partner over time, is you no longer have to worry about that. That becomes what becomes special about the unit. That's why, when we think about changing partners, it's like, oh my God, it's not even learning the choreography. It's starting to feel this person out. So that's, I can't say I've done a lot of that. Maybe I should.
No,
but I think I've become pretty in tune with my partners.
Yeah, I changed a lot of partner, not because I want to, because my teacher left. So you always need to restart. If there's nothing wrong, if you can work together, I won't recommend it.
Yeah. But in terms of lead and follow, like you're an active participant, but you need to feel what your partner's minor changes are, or I call that spidey sense, that hyper awareness when you're competing, when you're performing, of an alertness.
Yep.
Great question.
Great questions. Thank you, Emily. So Diane,
Oh, here we go. Hi. Hey, guys.
Hey, how's my girl?
From New York. I love
Hi.
you guys. So I always say I got into Smooth because of this girl.
Aw,
Watching you on the
hi.
floor is it's just fantastic. I love it.
Thanks. So good to see you.
Any difference in competing in Canada versus the US? What do you
Yep.
think of
For sure. My Canadian competitors and I talk about this, that it would be wonderful if the Americans came to our side because, well, one, it's actually less expensive for you because your dollar is worth more. But one of the differences is we just don't have the same volume of competitors. So we do have some strong people, but we don't get to have the experience of, the quarterfinal that you're going to get at New York Dance Festival or at Emerald or at some of the big comps. So if we do a competition, say Can-Am, for example, or La Classique, which are both beautifully done competitions, we're likely going to just have a straight final. Now, is that different than going to some of our smaller or mid-size events in the US? Not really. In Canada, we're also not going to get the same exposure in the judging panel that you're going to get in the US. So if we compete in Canada, we're being seen by Canadian judges and teachers and coaches who are here. And when we go to the US, we recognize that those teachers and coaches on the floor don't know us. So we actually have to do double duty. We are responsible for I would say supporting our Canadian events and also trying to make our way to the US to be seen and make ourselves, I guess visual. So I feel in some ways we are definitely at a disadvantage as the Canadians coming in. We're the dark horses, we don't have access to the coaching. We have to come to the US for those coachings. If we can drag them across the cold, frigid Arctic border to come and see us here in the igloos and the moose. We don't really have that. I'm teasing. Yeah, but the events are smaller for sure. In terms
So
of
we're coming to Canada this year for sure. My other question is about standard. Did you do standard because your partner was into it, or did it maybe help your smooth?
Yeah, it's the second. So when I was dancing smooth with my original smooth partner, who was named Sharon Levitt, he and I danced for 5 years together. At some point I realized I was a complete imposter. And I knew that I was not doing anything that was due diligent to the style, that I was really missing the technique below and behind it. And that didn't feel very good as a trained dancer. It's like trying to do ballet and know nothing. It's like, what am I doing? So winning a comp felt nice because of my emotions, but I recognized that maybe that's what was getting me where I was. But eventually that gets old and you want to get better. So my partner had actually said, why don't you take some lessons with Anton and see if he can teach you some standard. Now, Anton is 6'3". And when we first started, it was really just for lessons. And we did lessons probably for 2 years while I did smooth. And again, the miles that I did with him started to now but totally make sense what I was doing in smooth because I understood the patterning and the frame and the crossbody action and certain transactional lines that were happening and footwork that I just didn't understand before I had done standard training. It made a huge difference. And then we had 4 dances and he's like, I'm going to teach you quick step. We should just put this on the floor. I'm like, yeah, that'll be a spectacle. Let's give them something to laugh at. Okay.
Stop. And my last question is, do you do anything yourself to prepare you for standing spins? Because yours are amazing.
Thanks. Standing spins. Yeah, I think you have to have a very strong core and you have to really engage in your extensions. And the reason I say those two things is your core is engaged when you're in the movement, but also there has to be this centrifugal force that you build with your partner to execute that, because as you spin, you have to be able to maintain that distance between you as well as your posture and the position that you're trying to spin in. So if you've got arm out, leg out, you're going to have body strength and and core strength, front and back. Core isn't just our abs, right? It's front and back. To be able to hold those positions in the air, in flight. And then once the centrifugal force takes over, you can let go and fly a little bit. But once what comes up got to come down, right? So when he starts to slow down, you've got to still engage to be able to collect yourself and come out gracefully. So you
Yeah.
do need to build strength. That's where somebody like Sophia D'Angelo would come in really handy with her sculpt and strength class, because it is really about sustained movement, holding the leg, holding the core, balancing, which is all part of what you're going to need to be able to do. So coming from a ballet background, that made standing spins much easier for me, because in ballet, we're doing center work and we're holding our bodies by ourselves. There's no partner. So we spent years training our bodies to have that kind of strength. If I had to start from scratch now, yeah, I would do a sculptor training, like a Pilates class for that.
Okay.
100%. 100%.
Thank you.
Or like wall Pilates. Like I know Sabrina was just telling me she started wall Pilates and loves it. Yeah, try that. That will definitely help build the core.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else? You can unmute yourself and just, call out your name. If anyone. Yes? No?
No questions.
That's
I've bored them to tears. They're wake up.
Hey,
you have also very, very good answer too. Really helpful, at least to me as a dancer. Oh, so Max.
Max. Hi, Max.
ciao, 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 ciao.
Hello.
I want to thank Jo because personally, she's always inspired me from the beginning. And everyone that's in this group right now, it's heartening, because when you go to a competition early on, and from my own experience, it was a nightmare, because I wasn't prepared for all the energy, that kind of energy, like get out of my way, we all know what I'm talking about. And it wasn't until I met Jo and then joined in with the Zoom group during COVID and everything, and finding that there was a community of people who were just encouraging each other in such positive ways. No matter what level we were at, we're not competing against anybody else, but just growing ourselves. So I want to thank everybody, and especially to Jo, my heart. Thank you.
Thanks, Max. That's so nice. Yeah, we all love each other. There's no question that Irene and I were talking about this before we went live, about how absolutely key these friendships and relationships are, especially for women. You compete against each other and then you leave it off the floor and your friends. And I'm amazed I've been very inspired by the women I've met who are career women, who have families, who are incredibly hard workers, and they're very dedicated and beautiful. And I'm amazed at the women I've met in this industry. It's just incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. So cheers.
I agree.
Totally.
Sure. Beautiful community, and then everybody here is, most of them that I met are very positive and nice. Of course, everywhere there's some good and bad, but majority of us, it really is a good community and supporting each other. I'm really grateful.
Can I add to that very quickly? I wanted just to say this because this is something I've observed. Over the years, you'll look at somebody and you'll think, oh, they're not going to be nice. They're not going to be friendly. They've got an air about them. I can't imagine ever being friends with them. All it takes is to say, hey, throw a compliment, and suddenly you've become best friends. And I think that there's a barrier that people are sometimes afraid to cross with other competitors. And I say, cross it. Go out there, say hello. You're going to, we often have a game face on and it's hard to read. And it doesn't mean that we're these unfriendly, awful, bitchy people. A lot of it's anxiety and nerves and focus. And so I really think it's worthwhile to just cross the barrier and say hi.
I love it. This is amazing. I agree. So thank you for doing that. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate your time for that.
Thanks for having me. It's so fun to see everybody. I love seeing everyone again.
Thank you. And thank you. And then this is Everything Ballroom. And we do have Facebook groups, and then can share with each other. If you have any, inspiring people that you want me to interview, or any questions that you have, please send it my way. And I hope you like what we do. And I'm hoping to help and support this community, and subscribe and share this YouTube channel, Everything Ballroom. Thank you. Oh, I do want to say that next one, I have Galina Dakina, who is the current world champions, professional national American Smooth champion. She will be on our live and will be on January 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I will send this out. And thank you so much, everyone. I greatly appreciate your time.